Today on the topic show, Vivek tweet on firing 1 million federal employees in 2025 goes viral. Vivek, thanked by World War II veteran, gets positive feedback. Oliver Anthony critiqued for canceling a show, claiming that tickets were just too expensive. The UAW livestream with my charming commentary. House Representatives pass a bill to try to save gas cars. Vivek video on ESG scores gains traction. Ford announces layoffs due to the UAW strikes. Ford CEO on historic proposal to the UAW. General Motors CEO on the UAW situation. Retail theft to cost businesses about $100 billion this year. Disney Plus cancels more content than anyone else. Starbucks is re-engineering their cups to be more green. McDonald's bringing back the 50-cent hamburger just for one day. Barbie sales are up 25%. Salesforce is ramping up their hiring, and TikTok is slammed with a €345 million fine. All that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder release twice today. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we're giving away a free flamethrower. Yes, you can mount it on an AR-15 with every September purchase. Go to a website for additional details. Lastly, for the intro, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September. So if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Starbucks re-engineering their cups for climate change. Now, one of the most iconic things about Starbucks, in addition to the logo, is the white cup. It actually was so famous, it actually was cast as a character, I believe, in the show called Game of Thrones. And I can only assume it was the main character of the show by how much feedback I heard about the cup in the film, or rather, in the TV series. It probably had as much personality as many of the people working on the show, presumably, but nevertheless, it shot to stardom. Not only can a cup start off as something that you drink up, but if that cup works really hard, it can become just as competent as a Hollywood actor and be in one of the premiere films. But enough on the success of that particular cup. It looks like Starbucks wants their cups by 2030 to move completely away from disposable cups. They also appear to be moving away from convenience. Now, this is actually coming specifically from the Seattle Times. They say, quote, "Today's drive to overhaul the cup comes from an obvious business imperative. Producing disposable products like cups creates greenhouse gas emissions, which warm the planet and lead to extreme weather events and other manifestations of climate change. That goes against the customers' increasingly expectations for companies to be part of the solution of climate change." Unquote. Now, I'm not saying things are not real in terms of the human impact on the environment. I do question how much an individual cup, well, collectively, Starbucks makes a lot of cups, but it is interesting how everyone ignores the 500-pound elephant, or perhaps more appropriately of a metaphor, the 500-pound panda in the room, since that's where most of the world's emissions come from. You see, that's a joke because pandas are from China. I know U.S. public school test scores are all-time low for math, history, science. So today we learned a little bit of geography, as well as what would animals be a part of? That'd be science. So a little bit of entertainment and education, some might say. Now, it looks like at a store, they actually have some programs where they don't serve any disposable Starbucks cups. So, and not even the plasticky ones, the little, the cheap little plastic where, it's single use. Now, it looks like they have a program similar to when you go to a store and you see there's like a little barrel of umbrellas, and the courtesy is if you take an umbrella, next time you bring back, you bring it with you. And it looks like a couple of these Starbucks stores have a similar program where they have this, it's just a little bit better than the disposable plastic ones. And, you take it home with you, and in theory, you bring it back. Now, it'll be interesting to see. The only way I could see this being successful, and again, it's one of those things where Thomas Sowell, a brilliant man, he is famous for saying there's no solution, it's only trade-offs, which I tend to find truer and truer the older I get. In this situation, it takes more energy to make more durable products like the plastic cups in terms of the heavy-duty reusable plastic cups. So it'd be fascinating to see a breakdown of the carbon emissions through all the variables in terms of that and compare the two. And again, Starbucks is ever exponentially increasing the amount of recyclable paper that they put into and utilize to make the disposable cup. But it's also one of those things where I don't think it'll be very profitable for the company. I think I'll lose money partially because I've been so, perhaps this belongs to the culture part of the podcast, but I was so disappointed by humanity in terms of how many people are so lazy they simply acquiesce from returning their goddamn cart when they go grocery shopping. I can't help but notice there's so many people that are so lazy they can't push the cart back 10 feet after they remove the groceries from their grocery apparatus. They're so lazy they can't take the cart and return it to the cart return as a decent human being should do. Now, I can't help but see a parallel with Starbucks. If they have these more expensive cups, unless they charge a preposterous amount of money, like $5 to $10 for the heavy-duty plastic cup, even then, I can't help but think people are going to buy it and they'll throw it out when they get home, or it's one of those things where, let me know in the comments, do you think this will be successful long term? Because you're taking away from the convenience of a customer. Now a customer has to bring their own coffee beverage device to the Starbucks, which in terms of business practice, I do believe it is clever for them. They do give a discount right now if you do that act. So if you bring your own coffee apparatus, usually some Yeti is a popular brand, of course. Well, I was going to say, case in point. But if you bring it to Starbucks, I think they give you like $1 off. Now, that's good because it provides an actual incentive that the customer benefits from, in addition to being better for the climate. In terms of the climate initiatives, the best results, I believe, in terms of like a business initiative going after that topic, you have to make it a win-win for the customer. And having that discount where, you get $1 off, you bring your own coffee apparatus, that's a great example of a win-win. It's better for the environment because obviously you can wash that, and if you take care of it, it'll last literally a lifetime or more. And Starbucks, they can cut down on the cost, not just the cost of the landfills, but logistics. A little ADHD story, a little fun fact about me. I used to work at a very popular movie chain, and I was a concessions cashier. And one of the big expenses, as well as inventory things that we took track of, were the cups. Because that's where movie theaters make a majority of their profit, is the popcorn and the beverages. The reason they're so expensive is because they don't make a lot of money, relatively speaking, on the ticket sale of the actual film. So in terms of Starbucks, very similarly, they're keeping track of the inventory, they're buying the cups, and then they have to pay an employee to stock them appropriately. So there are a lot of benefits to it, but it'll be interesting to see what's the customer pushback. Do a majority of people in the United States, are they willing to trade convenience for the environment? And inherently it's going to cost them more because they're paying for that expensive, whatever you want to call their pseudo non-disposable cup. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments, would you be willing to pay, add $5, $10 more to your coffee tab if you got a nicer, and then would you want to reuse a non-disposable coffee mug? Granted, of course, they're going to wash it properly, yada, yada, but just the stigma, a premium brand, you're using someone else's coffee apparatus, that doesn't feel premium to me. And Starbucks, they charge the most for coffee. Don't get me wrong, it's usually just candy in a cup, depending if you read the damn nutrition facts, but nevertheless, it's a premium brand. Would that decrease your perception of the brand if you go there and you get someone else's used cup? Of course, it's sanitary, but just mentally speaking, will that be a detractor for customers? That's perhaps something I'll be most fascinated to see as this whole situation progresses, and we'll see if anyone pushes back. But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone so much for taking the time to tune in today. Also, I know we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment the video. I really appreciate your feedback, whether you're on the front line of the UAW or in the corporate office at Ford. Your feedback makes the show much more interesting, and it's able to make me update the videos with even more data, and it really helps it, I think, make a better experience. And also, the feedback improves the show because thanks to the comments, I realize I need to actually work on my enunciation as well as my articulation and slowing down a little bit when I'm speaking. So together, we're going to make the show together that much better, and I greatly appreciate your participants. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.